In April 2014, Ministry of Education and Training of Vietnam and the American company Autodesk signed the MOU to promote research and learning environment, increase creativity for students in the schools in Vietnam through the use of Autodesk signing softwares. The cooperation program has helped over 10 million students at the high schools, college, and universities in Vietnam to have access to the latest design softwares and other resources. This not only contributes to improve the designing capacity of the individual, but also providing additional high-quality human resources for the design industry, constructions, manufacturing, media, and entertainment, which are increasingly developing in Vietnam.
Greetings from Sang Việt Nam on VTC10 and Việt. Over the past 1 year, Autodesk has been cooperating with the Ministry of Education and Training of Vietnam to help Vietnamese students improve the designing capacity. After 1 year, today we have one conversation with one representative of Autodesk to understand about the achievements of the cooperation so far. And we have invited Mr. Conway Go from Autodesk to share with us more about that. Thank you very much, Mr. Conway Go, for joining our program today. Until now, it has been 1 year of the cooperation between Autodesk and the Ministry of Education and Training of Vietnam. I'm wondering, why did Autodesk decide to cooperate and to work with the Ministry of Vietnam initially?
The Ministry of Education and Training is a very important organization when it comes to education. You know, I think through the partnership with the Ministry of Education and Training, we are able to get the technology into as many hands of the technology to schools and as to students. I think the main thing is that we want to be democratizing the technology so that as many students and schools can be using the latest and cutting-edge technology.
Until now, it has been 1 year since the cooperation of Autodesk and the Ministry of Education and Training of Vietnam. So can you share more with us about the result and also the achievements of the cooperation so far?
Autodesk is very committed in terms of providing education to the community. Autodesk has basically provided software free throughout the world, and Autodesk has basically signed a strategic memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Education and Training last year. The result has been very successful, I think, for a few main reasons. I think one, the software has been downloaded by many institutions. You know, we have organized 3 to 4 main trainings for cities across Vietnam as well. We did it in Hanoi, we did it in Ho Chi Minh, and we did it in Da Nang as well. So I think with that, we have been the engagements with the Ministry of Education and Training has been successful, and we will continue to support education in Vietnam.
Autodesk is also supporting many other countries in developing the designing capacities of the students. So with regard to Vietnam, I'm wondering, how does the teaching model from Autodesk is adapted to the teaching environment here in Vietnam?
I think for us, we really put the focus in terms of education. I think if we look at education, education is basically very universal across the world. Of course, the system and the structure changes differently. But I think more importantly is that the strategy in terms of supporting education is, I mentioned, it's very universal. Number one, we basically need to be providing the technology to the hands of the students and to the hands of the schools. And that's why Autodesk has actually provided the software available to every single student and every single schools here in Vietnam. And secondly is that, with that, I think there's a lot of online curriculum. So Autodesk portal as well, there's all the online curriculum, be it in architecture, manufacturing or multimedia. All the online student learning materials are now made available to universities and students as well. So the students can learn and pick up the necessary training online should they wish to as well. And then lastly is, like I mentioned, they can be part of the student expert program, which gives them the credibility as a student expert.
With an aim to support students in Vietnam to enhance their designing capacity, Autodesk has organized seminars in various cities of Vietnam. In recent days, Autodesk has collaborated with Arena Multimedia and held a seminar for students of schools of studies related to designing technology in the field of architecture, construction building, media and entertainment in Hanoi. By participating in this workshop, students and teachers were provided with additional information about the latest designing softwares and 3D technology for use in teaching or practicing in the computer room of their schools.
Sau cái hợp tác chính thức với Bộ Giáo dục Đào tạo vào tháng 4 năm 2014 thì chúng tôi cũng đã tiến hành theo cái chương trình đó mà hợp tác với nhiều trường khác nhau. Trong đó có rất là nhiều trường đại học Bách khoa, trường đại học kiến trúc, trường đại học mỹ thuật công nghệ. Và công nghệ của Autodesk là một cái công cụ để giúp cho họ có thể là thiết kế, có thể sáng tạo tốt hơn. Và họ song song họ cũng có thể là thực hiện những cái việc là mô phỏng hoặc là trực quan hóa. Và chúng tôi nghĩ rằng là cái kết quả sẽ được chứng minh khi sinh viên đó ra trường.
When the students have known the techniques of using designing software such as 3ds Max and Maya 3D of Autodesk, the students begin to carry out the designing process with the computer. This is an animation class with 3ds Max and 3D Maya software of Autodesk. Here, students learn the steps to create a 3D animated film, from the forming idea phase to the implementation of ideas with 3D technology. Making animation films is just a type of applied art and a science and technology sector. Therefore, the student had to apply basic filming techniques and apply the knowledge of art, such as the layout, colors, and knowledge of technology, building materials, textures, and architecture to make a movie in an efficient manner.
3ds Max và Maya là hai phần mềm em được biết đến đầu tiên và em thường sử dụng để xây dựng nhân vật ấy. Ban đầu thì làm quen với cái môi trường 3D thì em thực sự cảm thấy nó hơi khó khăn một chút vì nó có chiều sâu và mình chưa tiếp xúc được với cái góc nhìn của phần mềm ấy. Nhưng mà sau thời gian thì em thấy khá là hay, nó giúp mình chuyển hóa được những cái ý tưởng trong đầu của mình thành sản phẩm mà mình mong muốn.
Trong những phần mềm của Autodesk thì em có làm quen hai phần mềm là 3ds Max với cả Maya. Nhưng mà em thấy Maya có vẻ là phần mềm mà em quen hơn, bởi vì nó cái đến chuyên làm trong màn hình nên mọi thứ cử động khi làm animation nhân vật dễ hơn rất là nhiều so với 3ds Max. Cái đấy sáng tạo thì nó rất nhiều, khi em tạo nhân vật với cả làm chuyển động với nhiều hiệu ứng khác thì rất là đơn giản.
Những cái phần mềm của Autodesk đã khá là quen thuộc và phổ biến rồi trong những cái học kỳ mà chúng tôi dạy về làm kỹ xảo và làm phim hoạt hình 3D. Nhưng mà thực sự mà nói thì qua quan sát chúng tôi thấy là cái môn 3D vẫn là một môn rất là khó khi các em học từ kỳ 1 là học về graphic design, kỳ 2 là học về web, kỳ 3 là học về làm phim và kỳ 4 là học về 3D thì cái số lượng rơi dụng khá là nhiều, mà những em mà trụ lại được kỳ 4 tức là kỳ 3D thì phải là phải là khá là ít so với cái số mà đầu tư nhập học. Thực sự là nó cũng mang cái hàm lượng kỹ thuật khá là cao và nó đòi hỏi một cái sự kiên trì.
After becoming familiar with the 3D designing softwares of Autodesk, students can make a lot of cartoons which are attractive to everyone, especially the children, as a bundle of chopsticks, My Wisdom, Shepherd Boy, etc. It is the debut 3D films of the students after 6 months of learning.
Cháu đùa mà.
Apart from the cooperation with the Ministry of Education and Training of Vietnam, we know that Autodesk has held several contests for the Vietnamese students in regional scale. Can you share more with us about the capacities of the Vietnamese students in compared regions with students from other countries?
The students are just absolutely amazing. I think the Vietnamese students shows a lot of passion in terms of the technology. They're very quick learners as well, and at the same time they're very, very creative. I think one of the main examples was basically two students from Ho Chi Minh University of Technology one of them actually won the architectural competition, which she then went to Las Vegas, which is basically the Autodesk University that was held in Las Vegas. And
I'm wondering what will be the tools that Autodesk will use in order to support Vietnamese students improve their designing capacity in the future.
So the strategy is basically three prongs. One is basically providing the technology available to all schools and to all students. So be it in architecture, manufacturing, design, multimedia and animation, all this technology is basically made available free to all schools in Vietnam and basically to all students. There are two ways that we actually provide it free. One is basically to institutions or universities or schools. We have the ARC portal, which is basically the Autodesk Resource Center. This portal itself enables schools to download the software free. At the same time, for students as well, for individual students, they can download it via the education community. So that's basically in terms of the software download that we're providing for schools and students, equipping them with the 21st century skills. Together with the ministry and we are also involving in terms of curriculum integration, in terms of being in architecture, engineering, construction, manufacturing, which is basically digital prototyping, at the same time multimedia and entertainment. And lastly as well, I think certification and student experts are basically a very, very important component where the students are ambassadors. When they have the software, they train, they use, and then they become ambassadors, and that leads to them winning competitions like the ASEAN-wide competition.
As you mentioned earlier, Vietnamese students are very talented. Do you see a very great potential of the designing industry in Vietnam in the future?
Right. The students, like I mentioned, they have shown very, very strong creative skills. I think they're very quick learners as well. At the same time, they're very passionate. For the students to actually win the ASEAN-wide competition, in architecture and coming in third for manufacturing, it shows the capacity that the students are well trained, they're highly intelligent, and they are basically very highly passionate. With the latest technology that's basically made available to them now, I believe that they will have a better future in terms of the career.
The final question we'd like to ask you is, do you have any recommendation for the schools in Vietnam to have their students better and improve their designing capacity?
And universities to be open to more technology. I think this is basically the way forward. From a technology perspective, if they are trained with the 21st century skills, the students will be better and more able to be ready for the workforce.
Thank you very much, Mr. Conway-Go, for your sharing, and we hope that the cooperation between Autodesk and the Ministry of Education and Training of Vietnam will get more success in the future.
Thank you very much.
That's it we have for today's program. For comment and feedback, don't hesitate to write to us at shangvietnam@netvietTV.net. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now.